It all comes down to this, the reality gut check that our habits predict our future. Today, I reveal, me, Keith Billis, when I'm going to die. Today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab where
when something negative comes up.
Building muscle and pool, blood flows.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If the lady's saying that, you're just
It's a super food.
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? That
Good. There we go. Good morning, Business Athlete Nation. The loop begins on a Monday. You got Keith Billis here. See Marty Fitz over there. John Anderson's over there. And producer Jimmy's on the buttons here this morning as we get the loop restarted. We get the week restarted. Today on the show, Troy Devlin joins at the top of the hour and Dr. Ivan Rizulko. I think that's how you say his name. Coming here to talk about Andropause. Yeah, not menopause. No, we do that for the other show, the women's show. We got Andropause here today. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. The only morning show to get your ass out of bed. Hey, listen, if you got kids in the room, I invite you to move them aside. Why is that? Because we might drop some words that might offend them. So put the headphones in, walk them out of the room, and let them know this is a show that Uncle Keith, Marty, and Johnny likes to drop some words that might offend the children. So invite them out, invite them in, whatever you got to do. They might even get hey, if you got a tip jar, put the tip jar out because some words are coming out they might like to hear. Good morning, good time. Good morning, LinkedIn user. Oh no, I can't see your name here. Come join us on the YouTube screen there, on the YouTube channel. Jimmy, let's bring in the crew here. We got Marty over on the green with the nice red headset on as always. Johnny's wearing black on black. Something with a black hat like myself. What's going on, boys? How are you today? How are you?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I had dinner with AJ and Melissa this weekend, boys. I should show you a picture. I went out, hung out with the big dog.
How was
nice.
Yeah, I crushed a big pork chop. Hold on a second here. I made the right choice. It could have been burger. It could have been fried chicken. I picked a nice pork chop.
What you think, Johnny, about the pork chop?
Well, I guess it comes down to the origin of the pork chop. If it was an organic pork chop, pork's great meat. But you look at what they normally feed pigs. They normally feed pigs garbage, which means the fat in that meat is highly toxified, which is something we don't want to ingest. Quick side note, right? So Terry she goes to the store once and finds this pork on sale, buys a shitload. I'm like, I'll eat that once in like a month. So she ends up eating it, every day. Broke out in fucking hives.
No kidding.
Wow.
No kidding. Marty, want to re-ask the question if the pork chop's good? No.
I was going to say, ain't no organic pigs in Canada. I ain't never heard of that. No organic Canadian
Yeah, I mean,
pig.
you got to literally know. You have to know the farmer personally. To that son of a bitch to tell you, this hog is not eating out of the fucking garbage can.
Well, anyways, I enjoyed a nice pork chop, Jack Dugan. I see you there in the comments. Good morning, Jack. I enjoyed a nice pork chop with our friend AJ and Melissa and my lovely bride Lauren. And boys, I had some cremini mushrooms, and I had a little bit of those potatoes that they chop into little slices, and I don't know, they might call them French. I don't know. They just might call them that, but it was a good, nice meal.
Scalloped. Those are scalloped onions. Is that correct? Scalloped onions, or excuse me, scalloped potatoes.
No, they're called French fries.
Oh,
that was an awful description, man. Yo, Johnny, what's up? Get your boy, man. That was an awful description.
Well, I'm thinking if he's out to dinner, fuck the places where he's out to dinner. Who the fuck's serving French fries at a nice goddamn restaurant? Jesus Christ.
Hey, so let's just set the right. Good morning, Mike McQuillan. I see you there, brother. I see you absolutely there, man. Good to see you here this morning. Mornings in the lab. Keith's getting raked over the coals for his pork chop choice this weekend. All right. So it was a nice restaurant. It was a $500 meal amongst the four of us. So we're not talking about and I don't drink and Lauren doesn't drink. So that just sets it into perspective there. Now I know you guys, that's like $10 American because that's like 500 Canadian, but so boy, yeah, the one pork chop was a few $100, but it was nice food and it was nice. But so boys, it was mashed potatoes or it was fries. And AJ, I looked at AJ and the big dog said, "How about some fries?" I'm like, "Oh, it wasn't fries." So we had fries. There you go. And I'm sticking to it. How was your weekend, Marty? Were you building big back this weekend, Marty, or were you making good choices?
Nah, I was chilling this weekend. I was making good choices, man.
Were you?
I didn't. Yeah, this was the first weekend in a while, man. I ain't have anything to do.
Oh, yeah.
So I caught up on some rest. I had a little cold too, so I needed to.
Oh, yeah.
Down for a second. So
catching up with you.
That.
Yeah. Good on you. How about you, Johnny? I know you traveled down to see your daughter down there. You're in a nice little community in Southern California. How was the travel, brother?
It was good. We're actually, I guess this would be considered the Central Valley where we are.
Yeah.
A lot of farmland around us. But
okay.
Great weekend. We're actually headed home this morning. But yeah, we had a great time. We did the dress fitting on Friday because her wedding is right around the corner next year, and then spent some time with the grandson. So it was a lot of fun. How did the dress fitting go, brother? I know we talked on Friday. Marty and I, we were wondering how it was going to go, whether you were going to be involved in the experience, whether you had to stay out of the room, and Terry and the gang was doing it. Like, how did that all go, Johnny? No, it was actually, I was involved in it's actually number 2. So this is not the first. It's not the first rodeo, So so I was involved in the first one a little bit too. So I think the cat was already out of the bag enough. So this time I just went and grabbed a seat and watched her get up on a pedestal as they started measuring shit.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun. Hey, we got Troy Devlin coming up here. We got Troy Devlin coming up later on the show, and of course we got. We also have our guest, Dr. Ivan Rizulko, joining us to talk andropause. I know women go through menopause, and Dr. Ivan talks about andropause. We're going to talk about that coming up here in the show as well. And then at the bottom of the hour, to Marty's chagrin, I'm going to reveal when I die. Sorry, Marty. Sorry. I know.
Do what?
I'm going to reveal when I'm going to die. And I know we're not here to talk about the negative. I know you don't like that bullshit. I know. But there's some fun within it all, because what I believe it does ultimately, regardless of one believes it or not, I think it just plays into what we try to do here on the show, is encourage men to make good decisions, create good habits. And when you're asked certain questions, when you do these fun things, Marty, it's provoking, right? You're like, all right, fuck, I won't have that extra pork chop and load of fries so I can live an extra couple of years. So we'll have some fun with that later on in the hour. But hey, boys, have you heard of the peak end rule? I wouldn't expect that you would have. I learned about it last night. I was quite fascinated about it. Do you know what the peak end rule? Have you heard about that before?
Hold on. What did you say? I missed it again. My shit is still choppy. So it might not be Elon, because I'm not on Elon's network right now. My shit is still choppy. What did you say? What is it called? Have we heard of what?
Well, because this is fascinating, because I think you guys both will be able to relate to this, and you didn't even know it was happening, but it's called the peak end rule.
Peak end rule.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
No,
at least in those terms.
Yeah, neither did I until yesterday, boys. And I want to share with you what I learned about it. So the peak end rule is and here's why I thought it was quite interesting, because we go through it all the time, especially in business and especially in experiences, but we don't know what it's called. The peak end rule is a psychological concept that suggests people judge, here's my point here, boys, judge an experience largely based on how they felt at its most intense moment, the peak, and at its end, rather than considering the experience as think of when you go to a hotel, Johnny and Marty, right? The first thing you see is what? The lobby. Right. And you're like, oh my God, the lobby's awesome. The customer service is awesome. But then you get into the elevator and you get into the rest of the hotel. It's like, oh, it's kind of worn down. It's kind of shitty. The food's mediocre. But then you go back to the lobby and you recognize how great the lobby is. And then when I ask you, Johnny, how your trip was, you might have had a good experience in the lobby where they treated you really well. And in your brain goes, that was your peak moment in that whole experience. And you're not really caring about the shitty hallways, the shitty food, all the moments within it all, right? I see you nodding there, Marty. know what I mean? It's fascinating because I never really thought about it before, but there's actually, there's this psychology behind this about how we react to moments. And if we have a 10-minute moment, it's actually 1 minute that we pay attention to. Johnny.
Well, the thing about when you said that, before you started with the hotel example, I was actually thinking of that's kind of what I do for myself, the psychology I do with my own journey. I don't think about the sacrifice in the front end of it. I don't think about the fact that I'm delaying gratification. I think about how good it's going to feel at the peak. Yes. How great it's going to feel to know that I accomplished something. So I don't really think of it in the terms of like a hotel or a restaurant. That shit doesn't mean anything to me. I use the psychology for myself and my own journey.
I love that, Johnny, because they talk about, so that some of the real world examples that was referred to in this was, customer experiences, vacation, medical procedures, or in business, it's crafting memorable moments, or in events, right? Or in personal relationships, right? And in many ways, let's have some fun and refer this to kind of sex, right? Where perhaps, Johnny, we always remember the climax, Marty, but in reality, the entire 8 minutes or 12 minutes is really a lot of fun, but we always focus, rightly or wrongly as a man, on that one extraordinary moment. You know what I mean? It's that peak end rule, right?
Yeah, I was going to say too,
Marty.
You think about it like this might be a little different, but if we look at sports, right? Let's say we talk about basketball. Well, you might have a guy who got serious hops and he's dunking all the time, and you'll be like, oh yeah, he's a good player. Yes, but he's shitty in everything else.
Yes.
So I think that's a good way to look at it too. And then not necessarily sex, but if you look at like, your whoever you're dating, their looks might outweigh all their bullshit. So you people will be like, oh, how could you get rid of her? Or, how could you not want to talk to her? Yes. Just because they look a certain way. So, I get what you're saying.
Well, and Marty, you're related to your business. Go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead.
I was going to say this goes back to training our brains. This is the RAS, the reticular activating system. When you are constantly training your brain to see the good and the good outcome, you don't see all the bullshit that just gets in your way.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think about it. So, we're always loving to give technical information about business and personal side of things. From the business side of things, Marty, I think about your gym, and Johnny, I think about back when you had your gym, right? Somebody coming in, meeting you or meeting the facility for the first time. And Marty, you're treating them really well. You're signing them up. You're making sure they're feeling really comfortable there. And then they might be there for a couple of weeks and they might be having some mediocre experiences, but because you made them feel very good, when I ask them about the review of Gold's Gym, like, oh, it's awesome, man. Marty's great. Even though there's been 10 other moments that sucked, but that one thing you made them feel really good, that's really what counts, right? So I found it quite fascinating when I was reading about that, and I thought it really kind of related to practical applications that we like to talk about here in the lab. All right, coming up, Dr. Ivan Rizulko coming up here mornings in the lab. We're going to talk Andropause, boys. We're going to ask Doctor about what his morning routine is, and then we're going to get into a little bit of who he is, and then we're going to talk about not menopause. No, even though it's a man's show, we're going to talk Andropause with Dr. Ivan. Marty, Johnny, let's go take a quick 60-second break. I'm going to do the accountability check-in, and we'll bring Dr. Ivan and keep the show rocking and rolling. And then at the bottom of the hour, I reveal when I die. Let's do it, Jimmy. Yeah. All right. Here's what I have to say to you, Dr. Jack, or Dr. Johnny Dugan. Yeah, or Dugan. Ears perk up. I got something for you, brother. You didn't run out of time this year. Nope, you wasted it. Harsh? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. It's harsh. Sure. But here's the reality. It's still the truth. Most people listening to this right now are going to wait until January to reset. Not Dugan. Oh, no, he reset a few months ago. He's down 48 pounds because of this show. And those folks that wait until January to reset, that's why they stay stuck. So listen, I'm going to invite you to ears perk up and tune into this. If you missed your 2024 goals, ask yourself this: what did I avoid? What habits held me back? Audit these three areas. Do these three areas before 2025. Here we go. Number one, your numbers. Where did you gain or did you coast? Number two, your relationship. Amplifiers or anchors. And number three, your habits. You got good habits that you build. You got good bad habits you want to break. Listen, the calendar and the circumstances don't stop you. No, baby. It's those choices that lead to habits. And here's the question you have to ask yourself. What will you choose to do differently in 2025? Hey, it's just around the corner. Just over there. Yep, 2025 is coming up before you know it. You can't stop Father Time. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that later on in the hour when I reveal when I die. All right, Jimmy, let's keep it going, brother. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. All right. We have somebody here this morning who is joining us from, who knows where he's joining us from. We're going to ask him where he's joining us from. We got Johnny joining us from California. We got Marty coming up here in a second. And we got Dr. Ivan Rizulko. Dr. Ivan. Good morning, brother.
Hey, what's up, boss? How are you?
How are you, man? Good to see you here on the show this morning. I'd like to introduce you to John Anderson and C. Marty Fit, a.k.a. Christopher Martin.
Rock and roll, guys.
Hey,
Pleasure to meet you.
What's going on, man?
Yeah. So, Dr. Ivan, I think you're joining us from Miami, eh?
Yeah, Miami Beach, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been up. So we got the proverbial question we ask every guest on the show here, which is, what is your morning routine, Dr. Ivan?
Oh, man. It's usually exercise, fasted cardio with some amino acids, and kind of pool duty out here. I'm a huge fan of swimming.
Yeah.
Notice the hair, as you can see, it's a little crazy right now. I just got out of it. So
yeah.
All
So
good, though, man. All good.
What time does the alarm go off, Ivan?
Our alarm goes off about 6:30 or so.
Oh, so quite late.
Quite late, actually. I usually go to bed late, but I'm up all day, so everything's pretty good.
And has that been a routine for you that you've had for forever? And I ask you these questions, Ivan, because we're a morning show. We're a morning show to help guys get their day started. We're a morning show to help guys not hit the snooze button. And in our experience, guys are always leaning into guys like you and Johnny and myself and Marty for what works best for us. So do you wake up naturally? Do you use the alarm to get up, or did light get?
No, 100% naturally. Usually when the sun's up, I'm up. And my biggest thing is sleep. Sleep's extremely important, so I try to get the correct stages of it. Yeah. So I take a lot of different stuff before bed. I actually take my sleep routine much more religious than my actual pre-workouts. So we use a lot of secretologs to help with IGF formation. We use a lot of different things to help with the different stages of sleep, both delta and REM. So I'm more about a quality of sleep versus quantity. So I go to bed pretty late, but I get up semi-early. So I get about 5 to 6 hours a night, and I've never felt better.
So Dr. Ivan, can you lean into that for a couple minutes about sleep and those things that, those supplements you take for sleep, and when did the light go on for you in your journey, recognizing that sleep is actually the most important thing that we can do for ourselves as humans?
Well, I tell everybody, I just turned 40 this year. I was actually in Antarctica for it. It was great. But the biggest thing is, once you hit a certain age, you have to make sure you're getting REM sleep and actual delta sleep. And again, I apologize for the hair, man. I just got out of the pool, so it's a little bit crazy. But the most important thing is, I slept about 13 and a half years of my life. That's how important it is. So you really have to dwell on the actual quality of it. And one of the biggest things that's produced during sleep is IGF-1, or growth hormone. And that's kind of the most important thing when it comes to healing, regeneration, and repair of your body. So not only your mind, your body, your energy, your sexual health, your mental clarity. So the most important thing is definitely making sure you get enough of that produced throughout the night. That when you get up, you feel awake, and I guess you wake up feeling refreshed, ready to rock and roll. Yeah. How do you track your sleep, Dr. Ivan? Basically how I feel. But no, the biggest thing is I always use the Aura ring. I mean, as legitimate as that is. Yeah. I do like it, but I always say, your best gauge is how you feel in the morning. You should wake up feeling refreshed and with a clear mind. That's Johnny Anderson's motto as well, which is how he's feeling. Johnny, when you hear some of the things Dr. Ivan's talking about, any comments on that, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to it, it's you hear me talk about it all the time. I'd love to hear the doc talk about it. Is the body is sending you signals all day long, and when you wake up and you feel refreshed, you might have slept even less. A lot of my clients, I get them dialed in with nutrition. They start sleeping better, and they're like waking up before their alarms, and they're like, "I'm not sleeping as much." My first question is, "How do you feel? Do you feel refreshed?" They're like, "Yeah, I feel great." Well, good. Well, guess what? We're creating time for you now. You're sleeping more efficiently because your body tells you everything you need to know. You just got to learn how to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Dr. Ivan, I find sleep is a fascinating topic. Marty and I have talked about it many times on the show here. We live in a society that appears to be bred around FOMO, just a fear of missing out. Oh, I'm going to miss this, going to miss that, going to miss this. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Yet science keeps suggesting to us that the more sleep we have, the healthier we are, the longer we live. And I'm here to reveal at the bottom of the hour when I'm going to die. So talk about why
is that what that dumb shit FOMO means? I see that all over. What the fuck is this stupid thing? I don't know what it is, but I know I want nothing to do with it. Is that what that means? Finally, after all this time, I'm looking at that and I don't give a shit. Fear of missing out.
It's exactly what it is.
For people that are too fucking lazy to get up and get their shit done, be afraid of that. Get up in the morning and start kicking ass. You don't have to worry about that dumb shit.
And Instagram's been a big perpetuator of this idea of fear of missing out. Dr. Ivan, as you know, you talk, you're 40, Marty's 31 here. Are you finding folks in your demo and even kind of in between Marty's demo and your demo are 30, 40-year-old men? Are we sleeping more, Dr. Ivan?
Yeah, it's kind of unique. I'd say probably not. I have the luxury of dealing with people who take their health seriously. It's nice. Yes. You know, this is a cash-based practice. So, you know, I would say if you pay $100 for a gym membership and you miss one day, then you feel like shit. You know, imagine spending $5,000, $6,000 a month on your health. You're going to start taking it a lot more seriously. And it's kind of unique to see too. You know, I always sit there and say quality is always more important than quantity, whether it's, you know, women you've been with or sleep you get. So the most important thing about that is making sure you're actually getting quality when it comes to the sleeping aspects. And that's why I think, you know, people need to start taking sleep nutrition, sleep health a lot more important. I mean, it's almost more important than pre-exercise nutrition. And as long as you do it properly, you don't need 8 hours. And again, a lot of these studies are based off of unhealthy people who they study who just have shit lifestyles. So, you know, everybody now is a lot healthier. So therefore, you don't need as much sleep as you know, as the average bear. And I think that's why I think, you know, when you wake up feeling refreshed, that's the best gauge of who you are. Same thing with the scale. Never look at the scale. It's about, you know, how you feel, how you look in the mirror. You know, weight loss is bad loss. You want fat loss. So it's just kind of getting through these social norms of you need 8 hours, you need to be this certain weight, and just kind of understand your body's your best gauge. And if you want to start to perfect it, you jump into diagnostic testing and really start to, I hate the word biohack, but you start to really kind of figure out how your body works. And sleep is probably the most crucial aspect to it, sleep and hydration.
You know, it's funny, Dr. Ivan, as I'm hearing you talk and I'm watching Marty nod and I'm watching Johnny nod and I myself am nodding here. Yet, you know, this show continues to have success because men tune in wondering what the magic pill is, Dr. Ivan. Like, I'm seriously, though, guys. So what's the magic pill? What do I need to do? And you're like, oh, go to sleep.
Pretty much. Again, it's crazy. And luckily enough, you know, when it comes to the anti-aging industry, to wellness, regenerative, whatever you want to call it, I was kind of one of the forefronts here. I've been doing it for 14 years here in South Beach. We've, you know, developed all kinds of unique protocols that are used nationally now. But there is no magic bullet. And I tell everybody the most important thing when it comes to any type of healthcare program is your diagnostic testing, because my program is different than yours, is different than his, is different than his. And it's crazy to sit there and see, especially men now. And again, you know, we're doing a lot with Andropause. And again, Andropause is the male version of menopause, which nobody really understands. Is the aspect is not just testosterone deficiency. It can be everything from adrenals to IGF, which is growth hormone. It can be iron issues. It can be mercury toxicity. It can be candida. There's a whole shit show of stuff that can be going into the actual system to kind of make you not feel your optimum. So, you know, with all my patients and myself, I mean, I spend more money on my diagnostic testing, perfecting everything about it, because I don't want any toxins in my system. I want my hormones optimized and my nutrition on point to live to 120, which is my goal.
Yeah. So, Dr. Ivan, today we're chatting with Dr. Ivan Rizulko, and you know, you recently recorded an article about men's menopause that what's being referred to as andropause. Let's talk about andropause for the next few minutes here, Doctor. First of all, what is andropause?
So it's literally what it sounds like. Andro is basically the sex hormones for men and women, but when they start to decrease over age, which usually starts around 28 with men. But again, that's a very light number this day and age. You're seeing a lot more people come in with andropause in their 30s just because of the lifestyles we lead, addicted to, you know, TVs, not going out, not being very active. It's kind of going in two divergence. You know, there are people who are really investing in their health and getting healthier. And that's why you see people who are in their 50s and 60s who look like they're in their 20s, but we're also going the exact opposite way. I always find it unique when I go home and you'll see friends from high school who haven't really left. They're really taking care of themselves and they look like they're 60 years old. And you're like, holy fuck, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on here?
I see that at my age too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's crazy. And, you know, it's a situation to where, you know, as long as you stave it off, and sleep, hydration, nutrition, and stress management are the four things that are, you know, basically free and everybody can follow. And then you start sitting there and actually getting into the weeds. You're looking at your adrenals, you're looking at your testosterone, you're looking at your growth hormone, everything else that goes into what makes you a man, I guess you could say. which all starts to dip at 28. And the harder the lifestyle, the more stress you have, the faster it goes down. So just staving it off really allows, you to kind of, hack your age, feel better, look good. I always tell people, if you want to feel good, look good, or fuck like a rock star, come to me. I'll take care of that for you. But again, it's about managing your hormones, your nutrition, and your toxins. Mercury toxicity, I think, is probably the biggest epidemic in this country right now that nobody even pays attention to. You get that through the amalgam fillings in your teeth and the fish you eat. And that right there is probably one of the biggest killers of testosterone, of sex drive, of energy, of everything that makes it worth getting up in the morning.
Talk about that, Dr. Ivan.
Real quick, Keith. What were those for again? It was sleep, hydration, stress management, and what else?
Sleep, hydration, nutrition, and stress management.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I just wanted to write it down.
Yeah. Talk about mercury, and talk about, you said the mercury toxicity. Yeah, man. You're talking about the fact that it's hiding out there amongst everywhere. Talk about that a little bit.
I always find it unique. You sit there, when you look at the FDA and the CDC, and probably the two most corrupt organizations in the world and how they work, they'll sit there and if you're a woman, you're pregnant, they tell you to stop eating fish. They've never checked to see how much mercury you have in your system already. They've just now banned, starting January 1st in all of Europe, amalgam fillings. So if you have the metal in your teeth from a cavity, all they basically would do is take silver, put it with mercury, and then put it in your mouth, and you sit there and slowly breathe that all day long. So the amount of mercury toxicity I find, and again, I've been doing this since 2013. I'm sorry, no, 2012. I'm getting old here. It's astonishing. And I live in a very affluent part of the world, and again, there's a lot of autism where I'm at. A lot of unique issues when it comes to autoimmune diseases. A lot of people getting Parkinson's and stuff at younger ages. It's either because of the fillings, I believe, or the fact that we're now consuming copious amounts of fish that we aren't used to. I mean, like, I'm in no way genetically predispositioned to sit there and eat as much sushi as I started to, and now I'm out catching marlin, catching tuna, and all this kind of stuff, and I actually developed a horrible mercury toxicity. And the biggest side effects of mercury toxicity when it becomes symptomatic are issues when it comes to thinking, sex, anxiety, insomnia. And eventually, once you get past that threshold of usually of 10 to 15, you're actually predisposing yourself to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autoimmune diseases, cancer. And this is all researched NIH PubMed articles. It's just nobody wants to pay attention to it. And it's mind blowing. It really is.
Why, Dr. Ivan?
It's just disinformation, misinformation, and nobody kind of gives a shit. They just basically want that easy answer. Everybody likes eating sushi. Nobody wants to go to the dentist and get these things taken out. But once you sit there and it starts to affect, again, like I heard you guys mention earlier, how important sex is. I mean, everything that I do boils down to sex, because why do you have bigger tits, bigger lips, nice house, nice car? We're all trying to eventually get laid. And the problem is, if you have a very heavy metal mercury toxicity, I mean, the chances that you're actually able to function properly when it comes to sex, let alone everything else in life, I mean, you're walking around at your best at about 60%. So it's something that I think is ripe for the taking, both on the health world as well as the business world. I mean, like, it's an opportunity to start chelating people that, I mean, financially and business wise, I think it's one of the biggest untapped markets in this country.
Yeah. According to Dr. Ivan, it all comes down to sex. Hey, Marty. Hey, Johnny.
I mean, hey, he's right. That's why Johnny got 3 kids.
That's why Johnny's road tripping now, buying wedding dresses for his daughter. Dr. Ivan, I've really appreciated everything you've dropped here on the show this morning. Clearly, we can keep going here, but we're going to work towards wrapping up our segment. Dr. Ivan Rizulko, how can Business Athlete Nation, LinkedIn Nation find you, connect with you? Working to get your great information, great advice, and so forth, Dr. Ivan.
Yeah, rock and roll. I mean, as everybody, Instagram, Dr. Ivan Rizulko, as well as Lifestyle Medicine on Instagram, and then lfstm.com is the website. And again, man, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I love what you guys are doing. Keep that shit rolling.
Awesome. Marty, Johnny, any final closing
comments? Right on, brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate you.
I just think, go ahead, Marty.
I was going to say, I appreciate you. I just learned a lot. I took a lot of notes. And I'm about to follow you on Instagram right now. So
rock and roll, man. I'll follow you right back. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Johnny.
Yeah, just laying shit out nice and straight. That's what people need to hear. So,
amen. Straightforward, no bullshit.
Well, Johnny, and I'm suspecting many of the things that Dr. Ivan's talking about, you talk to about your clients as well, right? I'm suspecting many.
100%. We're 100% talking the same language, and there just needs to be more people doing it, because there's so much bullshit information out there. Everybody's looking for that magic button when the button is within.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and what I find about it too, boys, just before we keep going here is what Dr. Ivan talks about, and John, what you talk about daily is the accumulative bad habits that have beat up on us for the last 20, 30, 40 years, right? So Dr. Ivan, the mercury fillings, the eating food with mercury in it, nobody's really paying attention to as an example. And then all of a sudden we wake up 30, 40 years down the road going, oh, that shit's having effect on us, right? Dr. Ivan?
Exactly, man. Again, it's all accumulative. And again, the faster you do it, like you talk about, don't wait till January 1st. I mean, like, get that shit moving now. Every day counts.
Yeah. When I like what Marty's message.
Wait 20 years from now until we're looking back and going, fuck, look at this shit we were eating in our processed food.
Oh my, yeah, the food is
fucking blow our minds.
Terrifying.
It's going to fucking blow our minds. Right now, we know it's bad. In 20 years, we're going to go, how the fuck are we still alive in a race?
Well, and it's interesting, boys, just before we keep rolling here, it's quite fascinating to me as I keep building the show out. The information I'm getting more and more about ultra processed foods, especially since
tobacco companies bought all the big boys.
Well, especially since
tobacco companies bought Nabisco and all these things. Now they're doing is putting all that addictive shit in the food too.
Yeah,
you know?
Again,
diabolical.
Yeah, especially since we've been talking about it, how much it's affecting us human beings, this ultra. And I don't even know why we call it food, eh? It should be ultra processed something, not food.
Did you see that study? The study, they took these two fucking rats, one rat for 2 weeks of eating real whole foods or the equivalent. The other one was eating a classic American diet. Yeah. And they were put into this tank of this big bathtub of water with a little pedestal. Yeah, that's right. Excuse me. Yeah. And the fucking one that had been eating the average American's diet almost fucking drowned. The other one got on the pedestal in like 5 seconds.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Terrifying, man.
Oh, man.
Fucking unbelievable.
That's crazy. All right, Dr. Ivan, we're going to walk you out. We're going to keep the show rolling. Marty, you're up for Fit Tip. Johnny, when you come back, your horizontal feed was not on. So you want to come back with the horizontal feed, that would be great. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to reveal when I'm going to die. Yeah, true story. And then we got Jory Jansen coming up to talk pooping. So Dr. Ivan, in about 15 minutes, we're talking shitting. And then top of the hour, we're going to talk napping as we work towards wrapping the show up. But Dr. Ivan, I appreciate you, brother. You come back hanging out with us again, okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
All right, take care.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Marty, you're up, brother. Get after it, pal. Even though you're feeling under the weather, you're still showing up. I love it.
I'm good, man.
I know you are.
Come on, Keith. You can't stop this show. Not this guy right here, man. Come on, man. That's why I'm here. But we got the fitness tip for today. And, I feel like y'all been liking the heavy hitters, so I'm going to keep that going. So today, we're just going to talk about how fitness is the greatest parallel to life, right? In life, we got all these obstacles. We got challenges, especially as men, right? So, the one thing I've learned from being an athlete, from being in fitness is that when you can endure physical pain consistently, it's going to build a callus on your mind, right? So you keep going to the gym, you keep hitting upper body, you keep hitting lower body, you keep making yourself uncomfortable. At some point, your mind is going to be able to withstand whatever obstacle, right? So rarely do things stress me out. And part of that is because of my consistent active lifestyle, right? I know if I can get through this hard, strenuous workout all the time, I know if I'm doing 3 days and 4 days in college, whatever life hits me with, it's not going to be anything. So stay in the gym. It's important to keep those workouts going because life is going to throw you a curveball. It can be business. It can be family. It can be relationship. It can be whatever. But the challenge is coming. Once you get through one challenge, you got another one on the way. So you can't lose your shit every time life hits, right? You can't lose your shit every time life gets difficult. But you can control being in the gym. You can't control the bullshit coming your way, but you can control what you do with your body. You can control taking care of yourself. You can control your nutrition. And as long as that's in order, this shit is a breeze, man. So stay in the gym, stay in the lab, and remember that physical pain that you don't feel like going through is going to help you get through life. It's going to help you get better. That's the fitness tip for today.
Here's the fit tip of the day with C. Marty Fit. Christopher Martin, 8:30 Eastern time every day.
Yes, sir.
Something to get you guys moving, something to think about.
Yes, sir.
We just had Dr. Ivan Rizulko here in the lab.
No, he's a beast.
Dropping nuggets, eh?
Yeah, he's a beast, man.
Absolutely a beast. Absolutely. I figured John.
Hey, Keith, on a little side note, the only way I could hear that conversation is if I dropped the horizontal stream. Literally, I couldn't hear a goddamn word unless I dropped that horizontal.
So I think I have.
Excuse me. I just hear this. I couldn't participate at all.
I have a sneaking suspicion what it might be. I'll message you after the show here. I'm suspecting what it might be is the laptop might be full of recorded content that's slowing the baby down here. So that could be the problem. But we never know. But we'll talk about that after. I do have some ideas, and I'll send you a message on that after for sure.
Perfect.
But hey, so we are going to talk about. Hey, Johnny, did you know about the mercury shit that Dr. Ivan was talking about? Is that something that comes across your world as well?
Oh, fuck. I mean, oh, God. In San Francisco Bay, I spent most of my life there.
Yeah.
Literally, if you caught fish in the fucking bay, you were only supposed to eat that fish, I believe it was twice a month, because the fucking mercury level is so goddamn high.
Wow.
In that bay.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and they supposedly what they attributed it to was the ships that are coming in from other parts of the world and whatever the fuck's growing on the ships is falling off and change the ecosystem of the bay. Supposedly, that's one of the things that I heard. I have no idea if that's true, but I do know that a buddy of mine was doing a bodybuilding competition and he was eating fish, and one of our other buddies gave him a bunch of fish that was, basically caught from the bay. It's like, hey, here, check this out. You're eating fish. Let me give you some fish. He ate way too much fish. This motherfucker was losing his mind. He couldn't remember what day it was.
No shit.
Yeah.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good time to see you there. Yes, I see you tuned in at the beginning of the show. Pork chops. Yeah, crushing pork chops, brother. I don't have many pork chops in my life, but I made it.
Pork chop Keith. That's your new name.
Pork chop Keith. Yeah, from Husky Keith to Pork chop Keith. But all right, boys. Boys and girls, I have a big announcement. I teased this yesterday. I've teased it since last week, and I got the big response coming up right now. I revealed my answer to Piper yesterday, my beautiful daughter, Piper. She sat on the couch, and I said to her, today I was going to tell the world when I was going to die. And she looked at me like I was a fucking weirdo. She's like, what?
I can see her doing that, too.
Oh, yeah, Marty, she gave me the face like, what the fuck, man? All right, so here we go. I'm 52 years old, boys. March 1st, I'm going to be 53. As of today, I got 36 years, 154 days, and 8 hours left. That's it. With my current habits, I'm going to die in 36 years. Now, I can turn that into an additional 4 years if I change some habits. I will die on, let's do this here, April 25th, 2061, at the age of 88. So mark your calendars. I know my buddy Marty's got some tears welling up in his eyes because he's concerned that Uncle Keith's going to leave him. And I'm like, Marty, we got a lot of time, brother. And here's the thing. If I adopt better, yes, good time. Exactly. What the fuck, AI? I know.
Honestly, I don't think Marty's crying. I think he's like, my little buddy Keith is buying into this dumb shit. Is what I think. Marty's thinking.
I think this is fun shit for the show. If I could.
It is, but I don't think Marty's not sharing a tear with this goddamn app. I would bet my left fucking arm.
With better habits, I could live until October 4th, 2064 at age 92. So if I take, and listen, guys, and here's the point of this whole exercise that I wanted to have some fun with. When you download this Death Clock app on your phone, and how it's come together is it's apparently analyzed thousands of human beings over the years. And it's analyzed death rates, it's analyzed situations, it's taken some medical research, and apparently there's some validity to it. I don't know. I was having some fun, and I got a morning.
Here's the question, brother. Here's the question. I mean, if we're going to create a conversation, what are the habits? Does the app tell you what the habits need to be?
No, Johnny, but what I liked about it, pal, because you'll like about this too, and I was trying to get into it, I was having some troubles here, is it asks you questions that I think it prompts you to consider some of your habits, right? So, for example, how many hours do you sleep? What kind of food do you eat? Are you physically active, right? So it's these obvious things, John and Marty, that we talk about every single day on the show here. But what it was nice is that as you're going through the exercise, you're going, I only sleep 2 hours. I never walk. Okay, well, you're probably going to die sooner than later. Now, you can hear everything Johnny's saying, Marty's saying, Keith's saying, Dr. Ivan's saying, but maybe sometimes when the doctor says, hey, John, if you don't stop doing that, you're going to die tomorrow, maybe that's kind of like that kick in the ass, right? So that's what I found fascinating about this.
Does it talk about stress management? Or is it just the physical shit?
No, it talks stress management. It talks sleeping. It talks eating. It talks what kind of stress you're having. It talks about those four. What were the four components, Marty, that Dr. Ivan laid out there? Sleep, stress.
Does it talk about how many times you empty the clip in a day?
It doesn't.
He didn't say that. But sleep,
well, there we
hydration,
go. That's a massive
management, nutrition.
I mean, shit. Listen, you can really, really supercharge your life expectancy with that, you know?
Well, are you supposed to empty the clip every day?
Well,
it's better. It's better when you empty the clip when you skip a day.
At least once a day.
At least once a day.
I don't think that the concept of emptying the clip is not how many bullets come out, but are you emptying the thing out?
Oh yeah, you gotta empty it out. But I know me, I'm like, look, I'm skipping today. I'm gonna do tomorrow. It's gonna feel better tomorrow if I skip today.
I mean, at some point you're gonna be firing blanks, but you're still getting the job done.
Yeah, you're right. Some human had to build that AI, and you're right. You're right. Good time. That's what's fun about these things, right? There's bias and stuff behind it. But some of the questions that ask you is like, what is your race, right? And then it says, what is your so I'm doing it right now. What is your biological sex? A male. What's your first name? I'm going to call myself John. How often do you include fruits and veggies in your meals? That's the question it asks you. So rarely or never, several times a week, daily or 5 or more.
Daily.
So you see, my point is it just gets you thinking, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So it kind of gets me thinking. So go ahead, Marty.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
If I do that, I'm gonna go out of my way to try to beat that number.
That's exactly my point.
Crazy in the head. Yeah.
That's exactly my point, which you're like, well, fuck that. I'm going to live more than the 4 years.
That's what I'll do.
I mean, it makes you kind of competitive, right? Because you're looking at a good time going, well, fuck, some human had to build it. I'm going to fucking prove that human wrong. I'm going to live 5 years longer than what the stats tell me, right? That's what I mean. It's kind of fun, right? So it asks you questions about how often do you include fruits and veggies in your meal? So you might say, Jack Dugan's going, I eat 5 servings a day of fruit and vegetables. And then it says, so it starts to give you stats. Oh, you like this one, Johnny. How often do you eat processed foods? Like fast food, canned foods, or frozen meals, right? And so if you say once a week, and then how much sugar do you usually have each day? So again, it gets you thinking, right? It gets you thinking about some of these things that you're always talking about, daily sweet treats. And then it says, how much water do you usually drink in a day? Less than a glass, 10 or more glasses, right? So you kind of keep going through the whole process.
Does it have 3 gallons plus on there?
It does. 10 glasses, which is probably 3. Yeah. How often do you do cardio each week? Johnny did the stairs today. How often do you hit the weights? It asks you that question. It asks you how often do you do mix things up like yoga or stretching into your lifestyle? It also asks you how much of your days do you spend sitting? And I know Johnny, Marty, we talked about this in the show before. Marty, you and I, big hit on that show, which was people are sitting themselves to death, sitting too long. Right? Just sit too long, and we're dying if we're sitting too long. And then next question is here's a good one. How often do you get at least 7 hours of sleep? Right? And what it does here is it shows you based on 16 studies, 1.3 million participants, it kind of sets the stage, right? So, and it keeps asking you, next question is, how frequently do you have trouble falling asleep? Never, which kind of goes to what's going on in your brain. How often do you spend time with friends, family, or local community? Again, building in that whole community type of thing. You're right. Good time sitting is the new smoking. What is your current relationship status? Marty is multi-relational, married. And then do you have any children? Yes, they're stressing the hell out of me. Yes, they're living at home. No, they're planning on it. How supportive do you find your social circle? And then would you like notifications? So it asks you all those questions. Oh, how many alcoholic drinks do you consume in a week is the next question it asks you. And then what best subscribes your nicotine use, right? Do you consume nicotine? How often do you experience significant stress in your daily life? You guys talked about that. How much does your mental health negatively impact your well-being? Again, asking you those kind of questions. How often do you go for general health checkups with your doc is the question. How often do you get recommended cancer screenings is the next question. What's the typical lifespan of your biological grandparents is a question that it asks you.
Oh, dude, my grandparents, one of them lived over 100. The other ones were like 98, 99. Yeah, I got some deep fucking DNA coming down the pipeline here.
Not only you got deep cheeks, you got a deep DNA coming up, man. That's you're gonna. That's
my mom is almost 90, still lives completely independently.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Good time. I want to try, but I don't want to know. Well, that's kind of the fun about it, right? Good time is that, and Flynn did it too. And Flynn's like, what the fuck, man? I'm only going to live 4 hours longer than Billis, right? So, and then asks, are you overweight? As we have Jory coming in the show here in a moment, asks you, are you overweight? And then it gets, what's your typical blood pressure reading? Boys, do you pay attention to blood pressure? Johnny, Marty, do you? I don't pay attention enough to it. I probably should, but do you pay attention?
I go to the doctor.
Yeah.
I've lived my life in a way where I've never had a fucking problem with it. So I don't ever pay attention to it because that's been in the woods for fucking decades.
Yeah. Next question is, what is your typical bad LDL cholesterol levels it talks about here? We talked about that with Jory last week. What's your typical fasting blood glucose level? Right. So again, a question like that. And these are leaning into disease. Do you have any other chronic diseases that you might have, kind of brewing in your body? And then it does the old calculation. It just calculates everything here. I just quickly answered all the questions. And then unfortunately what it does is it says you want a 3-day trial, or you want to spend $80 for the year, or you want to spend $20 a month. So nation, that's what it's all about. It's asking a bunch of questions that Keith asks you every single day, Marty asks you every single day, and Johnny talks about every single day. It's the same stuff we're talking about every single day on the show. The difference is that it just put it into a fun questionnaire type situation, which makes you think about how long you might or might not live. So there you go. I got 36 years left. Jory got 30.
What's interesting about that? You can kind of tell the app maker recognizes how long people are going to stick with that, because they make the year $80 because they're going to make more. And when they pay only $80 versus if they do month to month, and people are all going to stay with it 3 months and they're going to fucking quit. They make more paid in full at 80.
Yeah.
Look at that. That just shows.
Yeah.
The app maker understands how short of a window people are going to stick with this.
Yeah. Well, that's what I loved about it. So with all fun aside, and we're here talking this week longevity. Today I revealed when I'm going to die, which is in 36 years from now. But as Marty said, whether you put any truth in that or whether it's not real, but you think, okay, 36 years. Listen, I know my age. I'm 52, right? So whether it's 36 years, 26 years, or 16 years, or 6 years, the reality is, everybody, is those years relate to the habits that we live every single day. And I love something Marty said a couple weeks ago, which is, you can make decisions which build a big back, or you can make decisions which don't build a big back. But ultimately, as you eat, those decisions are doing one of two things. And you kind of think about that. You're like, right. Or you see people you haven't seen in a long time, and 3 years or 4 years go by, and they're like, oh, those pants are fitting a little bigger on them than they used to 3 years ago, because they just don't even know it, right? It just kind of happens.
Well, I will say this app, I will say that the one thing I do really like about this app is that for the guy that's just getting out of the gate, for the guy that's been, not paying attention to his health, that this is a great place for him to start to look at, holy shit, my bad habits have really fucked me up here. And to have something that reminds you, because a lot of times people do this shit in denial.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Johnny. Right. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, and so it's like Johnny, you can sit down with great point, Johnny. You can sit down with your client and you can say, do this, do this, do this, but then you say, here, do this app. And it's like a gut check punch, because they're like, holy fuck, Johnny, I didn't realize all these bad things have turned my gut into the way it looks, and why I look the way I look, and why my wife's not having sex with me. Like, it's just a pointed, accumulative results that come up there. So anyways, a fun experiment. We're going to talk about it throughout the week. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about what is killing you. And then the next day, we're going to talk about how you can kind of create some new habits and so forth. But this week's all about longevity. Speaking of longevity, we got Jory Jansen in the green room. We're going to talk pooping coming up in about 90 seconds, 60 seconds. Depends how long Johnny's lifestyle tip is. Johnny, you got a lifestyle tip for us before we can bring Jory in and talk about pooping?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Get off the damn screen here, everyone. All right, check this out. You got to remember this. Most people think things are difficult only because the people around them have convinced them or programmed that things are difficult. Things are not as difficult as you think. Wake up in the morning and challenge yourself just a little bit. Just do a little something you don't want to do. And it could be as simple as going for a few-minute walk. It could be simple as reading a few pages out of a book. Just challenge yourself to do something that is difficult every morning, and you are quickly going to realize that the things that you think are difficult, the things that you're not doing because you think you can't, are very doable. And it all starts with one simple step. So remember, you only think that the shit that you need to do to get what you want is difficult because the poor bastards around you have convinced you it is, and only because that's what they believe. And remember, the man who believes he can and the man who believes he cannot are both correct. Rock and roll.
Right. Yes, they are. Keith Billis, John Anderson, see Marty Fitz. Mornings on Live with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to get your ass out of bed, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here. If you're new to this channel, I invite you to like it, subscribe to it, follow along, tell your friends all about it. Congratulations, good time. Just went to a wedding and my suit was too big. I love hearing that. So I guess the walking is helping. It's absolutely helping. But you know what's also probably helping, good time, is your regular shitting schedule. I bet you that has a lot to do with it. Today we're going to talk about pooping with our friend.
Good time had a big back suit.
That's it. Yeah. Good time had a big back suit. Now it's a little back suit because he has a regular bowel movement schedule. Jory, before we get into bowel movements, I revealed today when I'm going to die. Thoughts on that?
I heard that. And, if that can help motivate you, then great. If it causes some fear, then maybe just don't look at that and just create some lifestyle changes. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's kind of bizarre, eh, Jory? Like there's like, I knew it was kind of provocative. Some people who really have been diagnosed with serious situations, who have real death sentences, I'll say that term, are kind of looking at them going, what are you, fucking being provocative, making fun of it? No. I'm just creating awareness. I'm creating awareness around habits and decisions we make along every single day. And sometimes when we're asked these pointed questions and given a pointed result, it's like going to the doctor. The doctor's like, okay, well, if you don't make that change, this is what's going to happen. Oh, right. So I thought there's something provocative in just a process that you get to. Okay, you got 36 years left based on these questions you've asked yourselves. Right. All right.
Well, I like it in the sense that it's not a doctor telling you something, because we all hear it all the time.
Yes.
And we all know someone that's come back and said, oh, my doctor said.
Yeah.
And obviously doctor said didn't do anything.
Yes.
So I think this is a different tool to reach you. So, and in high performance sport, we use these, I call them more of a wellness questionnaire. It's a little bit different, but
okay, yeah.
For the chickens, they're every day you do the wellness questionnaire.
Yeah.
How are you recovering? How are you sleeping? All the questions.
Yeah.
So I think that they're helpful. And what you find when you do these things consistently, then you can track changes. It's like following your annual blood work. Well,
yes.
You can track the changes. What's your normal? What's changing? And then you can work on it. So I don't mind it. I think it's a different way of reaching the masses in terms of what can you do.
Yeah, and reaching and maybe, tapping into, like we always say here, right? We say things repeatedly. At one point in our conversation, something sticks with somebody. So maybe today somebody's like, okay, well, fuck, I'm not sleeping enough, or I'm eating bad foods, or I have to check my cholesterol out. So maybe it prompts somebody thinking to do things differently with their habits. But listen, let's talk pooping. Last week, you and I were texting. You're like, yeah, I was talking to this. I think you were talking about a rugby team. Was it a rugby team you were working with?
Wrestling.
A wrestling team. And you were like, yes, we're talking about feeding them well, but then you also alluded to the fact that you were talking about bowel movements and pooping with the boys. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So let's get into pooping. Where do we start with the discussion about pooping, Jory Jansen? How often should we? I know Rich is curious about this. How often should we be pooping? Like, where do we go with it, Jory? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I think most of us realize that we should likely be pooping at least once a day.
Yes.
But some people, it's every other day. The key is, what is your normal? And then also, what does it look like and what does it feel like? Those are some things to consider. So there's something that's called the Bristol scale.
Okay.
Scale. You can Google it, and it gives you these different types of poop and what could be leading to, what might be highlighting some health indicators. Whether your liver is healthy or not, whether there's some bleeding in the gastrointestinal system. So just kind of looking at, what does your poop look like? Is it hard to get out? Is it, are you having diarrhea? What color is it? If it is play. So that Bristol scale is one way to highlight, how am I doing? Some people poop 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Women, when they're on their periods, it's a great way to poop. It helps soften everything, and it's our natural cleanser that men don't get to have.
Yes.
So we get to have that little extra piece there. So you have to figure out what your normal is, and then also what does normal science-wise suggest.
Yes.
So it's a combination. Yeah.
And I know, Johnny, you use the facility multiple times a day. And let's talk seriously now. Like, so you're a multiple daily pooper, right? 2-3 times a day, Johnny. That's your habit, right, pal?
I think you are flipping this to me, Keith. But as soon as we get an extra person on the stream, if I don't dump the horizontal, I literally can't participate. I mean, I hear Jory talking, beep, 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 beep. That's all I got.
So, Johnny, can you hear me right now? The question?
I hear you addressing me. I hear you're either saying Johnny or Jory. I can't tell which.
Yeah, I'm talking. So Marty, how often do you poop per day, brother? Marty?
I'm a once a day guy.
Yeah, it's just right. Like, so are you do your coffee in the morning? You do your coffee and your water. You do your movement. And that's that. Yeah,
it's usually at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes midday. It just depends how I'm feeling. So it's not like a set time or a schedule. Johnny has a schedule. I'm not like Johnny.
But it's funny because I do too. Like I'm very regulated. I drink my coffee in the morning, my water in the morning, and then it's like clockwork. And Jory, is that normal? Like when you talk about the wrestling, is that normal?
Yeah, that's one of the ways to keep things on track is to have a routine.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's the act of first thing in the morning eating. It gets that digestive system moving. So then you're gonna, in a little bit of time, have to go to the bathroom. I know sometimes some people have to have a coffee and then go for a little jog, and that's what does it for them. But yeah, we have a circadian rhythm, and that first thing in the morning is pretty common. It's not everybody's routine, but it is a pretty common one to have first thing in the morning. And it depends on when most of your food is coming in too, because that's that stimulation. So if you're not eating first thing in the morning, then maybe you are going to be later in the day when things start moving along for you.
Right. Yeah. So I got a question from Richie Ingram. His question was poop frequency. I'm on my 3rd poop this morning, and this is normal for me. These aren't tiny poops either. When they hit, it's fucking coming. I always try to wake up earlier to get to it before running. So the question is this. Does my pooping schedule indicate that I'm eating too much shit, like too much crappy food, and my body's just sending it out as waste? Or is my body really efficient, taking what it doesn't need and sending out what it doesn't? Jory?
It could be yes and no to both of those.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your body, let's say you've got some irritable bowel and you've got some anxiety, anxiousness, that can lead to some things happening, and you might be going too often. Other times, usually it's eating healthy and well is what creates that bowel movement, because there's something that's called soluble fiber and also insoluble fiber.
Yes.
And both of those help in terms of having a bowel movement. So something like oats, beans, apples, that adds sort of this coating so things move nicely. And then there are things like nuts and seeds that help actually add bulk to move it along. So those sort of things help. Hydration helps, but going several times in the morning, that's just when the system is just really activated and you're ready to go, and that's your time frame.
Yeah, I'm looking at a recent study here, Jory, that came out from the Cell Reports Medicine, a study published in Cell Reports Medicine, that your poop schedule says a lot about your overall health. And again, what I'm going to say here is what you talk about all the time, and so does Marty and Johnny, but the reality is fruits and vegetables and water are the key. Yeah. Right? Get that fiber in your body, get that hydration in your body, so that when it's time to remove the waste, it's easy coming out. Right, Jory?
Absolutely. And the stress management too. So if you're high with stress, that can either trigger, so you're having maybe diarrhea, or it could trigger so that way you're constipated. So you have to look at stress management, which leads to your sleep cycle, your nutrition, the food choices, highly processed foods versus whole foods, all of that. It all plays a role in everything. I mean, the body, there's not one part of your body that acts independently of the other. It's all connected, right? Yeah.
And Rick Hoda jumps in here with the amount of fiber I consume can increase my regularity of poop, but staying hydrated is the key for me, and coffee does the trick. Yeah, coffee is like the unlocker. It seems like it's like the key to our bowel movements. It appears for most of us humans, Jory?
It is a stimulant, so it definitely can act in that way. If it has to be done that way, then maybe there's some other things that you can work on as well. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with having that cup of coffee to get things going. But there, just making sure you're not avoiding other options that we know for sure are good, not just for bowel movements, but for overall health too, right? So, but yeah. I think that cup of coffee, and if you need to do some other exercises, there's different sort of exercises, whether it's in the Pilates or yoga movement, that helps stimulate the gut. So lots of things that you can do to help move things along.
Yeah, well, movement is also a stimulator. I find when I get moving, get walking and rolling, and get my fluids into me, it's like, okay, I can't go too far from the restroom. And that's the thing with marathon runners, right, Jory? I will, when Lauren does her training, I always witness her timing things out, right? Which, okay, I got to get up earlier so I can consume my stuff so that I can get my body empty before I go for a run, because as we've learned from Goggins or Richie, we've seen enough people out there pooping their pants because that's just what happens, right? So
yeah, absolutely. And that might be one of Rich's sort of issues, is that he knows he's going out, and unless he gets it out, it's going to be a problem later on. So his body's reacting and going, okay, let's get this going. And so he's created that system for himself so he can actually go and do the workout that he wants to do.
Awesome. Jory, I appreciate you hanging out with us today. We're talking pooping. We got Jory Jansen joining us here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the protein break, always dropping nuggets for us. Marty, I did say nugget. I didn't mention, I'm not talking poop nuggets. I'm talking nuggets. So Jory's always dropping us good. I know. And Jory, hey, we got it. So here, I got a plan, Jory. I want to take you out for dinner this Christmas, you and your lovely husband, as an appreciation for you hanging out with us in the mornings. And then you can tell Marty and Johnny what I ate so I can be judged, because I was out with AJ this Saturday and I picked the pork chop and I picked some mushrooms, and the boys are giving me grief because I picked the pork chop, Jory. Because I was being questioned where the pork may have come from, Miss Jansen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have my own theories on that. I'm not necessarily the most popular person. I just think that, we've done some. I know some people won't eat shrimp because it eats at the bottom of the ocean, right? So, yes. I mean, choose your battles.
Choose your battles, and We'll reveal the battles on the show, and we'll see what happens. But boys, Jory, thanks for joining us here today. I appreciate you, and you have yourself a great day. Hey, lots of snow dropped here in Manitoba, so drive safe if you're out there today.
I've been shoveling.
There we go.
Johnny, Marty, I'm going to send you guys some pictures today. We have had a massive dump of snow that you guys could not even imagine that dropped here.
Send that over. I want to see that.
I will. All right, boys. Enjoy. If you want to stick around, I didn't realize it was Tarpless Mondays, but it's Tarpless Mondays coming up. We got Troy Devlin hanging out, waiting in the green room for Reloaded. Jory, have a great day. We'll talk soon, okay?
Yes.
All right, Jory.
All right. Boys, the first hour is done, and I'm bringing the bagpipes in for Troy Devlin, who forgot his shirt. Marty. I love it. Oh yeah, I love it, man. I'm thinking we should take our shirts off. It's funny because I was gonna bring the robe down today, but I'm thinking that Troy's like, no shirts, man.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
It's what are you saying? Me not taking? Fuck, I'm taking my shirt off right now.
We know you're a bodybuilder, Keith.
I know exactly. I don't want. Hey, I don't want to embarrass. We don't want to embarrass Anderson right now on the show.
Hey, quick question. Not to break the vibe here, but when we bring the fourth in, I'm going to go quiet again. Is that just what we're doing here? I'm just going to sit here with my thumb up my ass for another segment.
I'm about to get off too, Johnny. So you might be all right, actually.
Marty's going to rock and roll here.
I got to rock and roll, so Marty, you might be all right.
Maybe you get one less stream makes it just manageable for me.
All right, I hope so, man.
Marty, have a great day, bro.
See y'all tomorrow. Hey, what's up, Troy?
Have a good look, brother.
Man. Yep.
There's Troy.
What's up, Troy? See y'all, man.
Troy, you're muted on the vertical there, Troy. If you can take your muting off the vertical, that'd be great. And good time. We got a ton of snow, man. We got probably 10, 15 centimeters. I'm thinking of snow here today. So Troy, you got you there, brother? Troy? Nope. We want to get your audio over on the vertical as well there. Just unmute yourself there. No, not yet. We'll get you sorted out there. Keep talking. Yeah, you keep finding out. So Troy Devlin's joining us here. He is Troy is somebody we met on LinkedIn, and Troy does not want you to follow him. He's like, no, don't follow me. But then you're like, oh, I'm good. I got to see why I don't want to follow this guy. So we met Troy on LinkedIn, and he's going to join us here in a few moments when he gets his audio sorted out there. On I see you on the horizontal, Troy, but I see you on both streams, Troy, but I don't have any audio on your vertical there. If you want to,
So Troy, that means switch to your vertical tab and then hit the unmute button, because you got to hit unmute on both tabs. So go to the horizontal, then you'll see the mute, hit that, and you're good to go.
John Anderson dropping tech advice here on Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends.
Yeah, because I had the same trouble, man, that first time. Like, God damn, I thought I unmuted myself. What's this guy talking about? I didn't realize that you got to do on both sides.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
well, I guess we'll when he gets it figured out, we'll keep on going.
That's it. Hey, Johnny, Jimmy has a suggestion for you. He's like, hey, maybe suggest to Johnny, mute your vertical and use the horizontal sound instead. That might. No, I don't think that'll.
It's okay if I'm muted on one. Is that okay?
Yeah, Jimmy, we won't do that because I don't know how it's going to affect the after part here of the show here. So, because I'm on vertical and I can hear Johnny on the vertical here. So, but that's good. We'll keep the show rocking and rolling here when Troy Devlin joins us here in a second. Hey, Johnny, are you? So we talked this last week, and you have talked a little bit about napping. You're a napper, right? Like 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You try to grab naps where you can, eh?
Well, and it kind of goes right back to our first segment in the regards that I get up really early, right?
Yeah.
And many times if I get to bed on time, I'll have the sleep I need, or maybe I don't have the sleep I need from a poor night's sleep, maybe a bad dream, or maybe I just don't get to bed on time. So how I feel when I wake up tells me how important that nap is going to be. Yeah. Sometimes it might be just literally 5 or 10 minutes. Other times it might be 30, but you give me a 30-minute nap, man, I'm waking up fucking supercharged.
Yeah. I can relate to that. I gotta, hey, Troy, do we got you there, brother? Nope, not yet. So good time. I'm going to take you off there, Troy, for a second. Yeah, 100%, brother. So good time is a true nap should be 20 minutes or less? Well, listen, that's a great question, good time. So I have a little presentation here that I pulled together here, doing some research on napping. And because I know I talk with Johnny about this all the time. We talk about it on the show. We're so quick to make appointments for our doctor's meetings, our lawyers, our big meetings with our bosses. But Johnny, we never go, okay, I got to go take 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes to recharge myself. Let's talk about key benefits of napping, Nation, because, you want to live longer, you got to sleep.
And real quick, brother, on that level, I just want to share this. I mean, literally just about a month ago.
Yeah.
We were traveling. We're always moving around. And I went a series of days without getting my nap, and I realized, okay, I need to move getting my nap higher on my totem pole, because the quality of my life and even my focus for my business, my relationships were all suffering because I wasn't totally recharged here. And so I realized if me carving out somewhere between 5 minutes and 30 minutes is going to give me a better version of me, that's a pretty fucking simple concept. And so it just comes down to you making it a non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's so true, Johnny. And it's funny because, I was talking here in the show, well, I know when I'm going to die. Right. And you heard the questions that it asked. It talks about sleep and your lifestyle choices, and good time is like, is it true that nap should be 20 minutes or less? Well, if you'll see here, good time, I'm not expecting you watching. We'll talk it out here, good time, but the optimal nap duration, so this study, I found this study, and I apologize, I don't have the details. I forgot to pull the link up with the details, but the optimal nap duration, 10 minutes, most effective for improving sleep latency, fatigue, vigor, and cognitive performance, 10 to 30. Recommended range for mood and cognitive benefits, under 40, maximum suggested duration. So you don't want to go more than 40. You don't want to go less than 10. Johnny kind of said it best to keep things simple. I think you want to kind of lean towards 20 minutes or so. Hey, Johnny?
Yeah, your body will kind of take what it needs.
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
I lay down, the perfect world is I can lay flat. Sometimes I have to be kind of reclined in a chair.
Yeah.
And those are always going to be a little suspect. But if I'm laying down, sometimes it's like, I wake back up and I'm like, shit, I don't even know how long that was. But I feel what I need to feel.
Yes.
That's what's important.
That's what's magical, Johnny. When you have a nap and you wake up after your nap and you feel like you've slept for hours, then you look at your watch or you look at the clock and you're like, oh, I've actually been sleeping for 11 minutes.
12 fucking minutes. Yeah.
And it's fun. I like when you create that feeling of awareness because you're like, holy smokes, I feel like $1 million after that, right? So here's some of the risks of excessive napping. Good time. Reduce sleep drive, right? So long naps can decrease sleepiness in the evening, potentially leading to insomnia. And here's something else to talk as well, Johnny, which is
real quick on that level. Hold on. I want to interrupt that real quick. The guy that says, oh, if I nap in the day, I don't sleep at night. His sleep quality is so fucking poor. He's not sleeping no matter when it is. So when you get your sleep quality up, you can take a nap and go fucking right back to sleep at nighttime. It's just falling asleep is so difficult that you have a hard time. I mean, when I go to bed, I lay my head down. It's Jesus Christ. I don't think I could count to 100 before I fell asleep.
Yeah. I'm with you there, brother. I've never really understood the old, if I sleep too much during the day, I'm not going to sleep at night. I myself personally have never had that challenge. So when I hear somebody talking about that, I'm like, well, then maybe there's more going on with your sleep habits that you should be able to sit down 20 minutes, close your eyes and wake up again.
And those poor bastards aren't fucking sleeping much at night anyway.
No, not at all. You're absolutely right. So some of the risks of excessive napping, and here's one that I found quite striking, Johnny, is that naps over 60 minutes may increase the risk of type 2 diabetes and heart problems, right? So again, nation, if you're going about your day and you're chalking up 60, 90 minutes of sleep during the day. And
hold on, that I have to imagine that is applying itself to the motherfucker that's too dormant.
I would think so too. Well, when you look at the study details, hey Johnny, researchers analyzed data from this research came from 35,000 participants aged 40 to 69 in the UK, right? So examining genetic variants associated with regular napping, and the results were.
Well, then the question would be, how many of those people exercise regularly 30 minutes or more and eat roughly properly? If those two, does the study talk about that or no?
No, I don't know. I haven't dug that far into it. But then it says the key results were, a link was found between habitual daytime napping and larger brain volume. The difference in brain volume between regular nappers and non-nappers was equivalent to 2.5 to 6.5 years of aging. In other words, if you're napping properly and getting the proper rest and getting the proper sleep, John Anderson, you're going to increase your lifespan by potentially 2.5 to 6.5 years.
Yeah. Right? So, yeah. 100%. I mean, there's so many studies that back up if we're not getting adequate sleep, we're taking our life expectancy away. I mean, that's one of the reasons why later in life I've given my sleep a lot more attention, because I realized, holy shit, this is an easy way for me to stretch shit out. When I was younger, I lived in a way it's like, okay, I need to be going wide open here, and some shit's going to get sacrificed, and I can get away with it. But as I get older now, I'm like, okay, the goals are shifting a little bit.
Yes.
And, I've created this great space in life with this wonderful family. Now some of the goals need to be to stretch this motherfucker out.
Yeah, dude, I can relate to you, man. 100%, right? Where it's like, okay, I was joking earlier about FOMO. It's okay, I don't want to sleep because I'm going to miss out. I got to go to the bar. I got to go do this. I got to do this. I got to go meet those folks. I don't want. Hold on a second here. Go sleep an extra hour. Go sleep an extra hour and a half. You might gain an extra 10 years of your life. Right. So it's like,
well, and then when you go and meet those people, you're going to be a different you.
Yes. Right. So I'm with you, pal, as I've aged, and that's why I'm loving this show and I'm loving this purpose, which is I'm hoping that, we affect guys like Rick Clody and Good Time. We're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to try to get an extra hour of sleep today because you know what? I'm 52, I'm 55, I'm 46. I know it's only going to help me out.
Well, the crazy part is, brother.
Yeah.
Most people are cutting into their sleep because after 7 or 8 p.m., they're doing shit that's not really, they're wasting that time. That's why 8 o'clock is my bedtime. I shifted that. I've been going to bed at 8 o'clock most of my life, unless I was wrestling, because of course sometimes I wasn't getting in the ring till 10 p.m.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is that at 8, the time that I was wasting in my life was after 8 p.m.
Yes. Yeah, so you had that awareness, right? You're like, what the hell? I'm wasting my time or I'm making bad food choices. So you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to bed, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said to yourself.
Yeah, 100%. So I shifted everything forward. And people say, oh, I need to spend time with the kids. Well, why the fuck are you laying on your fat ass on the couch in their rooms if you're trying to spend time with them? If you're going to do it, don't just use it as a way to hide behind not going to bed early. Not to mention you're going to be teaching them how to go to bed on time.
Yes.
It's most people, the time after 8 p.m. is not really spent in, when I say productive, it could be business, it could be relationships, it could be self-improvement. That time is not invested properly. And that's the time that they need to get proper sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. And good time is my bedtime is 8:30ish now. You know what I love about that good time is that not only do you publicly state that, but you can look in your own mirror and you can see the results. You're putting your suit on, you're feeling better about yourself. You're probably mentally feeling better about yourself. Like, again, I hope as we continue to build the show, people are just napping more often than ever and sleeping better and so forth. But some alternatives to napping, Johnny, is taking a walk, addressing stress, improving nutrition, and optimizing that night's sleep. But here's the reality. Summary, the art of the perfect nap. 10 to 40 minutes is ideal nap minutes. I think, Nation, you want to try to find 20 minutes and just lay down and get your head settled.
Yeah. I think if we were gonna pitch a time, I would say if you can find that 15 to 20 minutes, it's not a lot, and you can get a huge benefit out of it.
Yes, exactly. And try not to do it over 60. Good time. I wouldn't do over 60. And Will Wright is saying, how many hours do you get per night? Well, Will, I can tell you right now, myself, Will, I get around, I can tell you, I probably get around, 5.5 to 7 hours of sleep per night. Not as much as I would like. I know I function probably better on closer to 7 to 8, but truthfully, I don't, 5.5 to 7 works well for me. What about you, Johnny? What do you get per night?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, when it comes down to it, most cases, like this morning, I was awake before my alarm went off at 2:59.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, when people say how many hours are you sleeping, they're talking about the quantity. When realistically, what we need to be doing is have a conversation about the quality.
Yeah. Yep. So if I look, so great question, Will. Right here's my, I'll continue here, Will. So your question was how many hours? I can tell you, Will, over the last month, I've got on average of 6 hours of sleep per night. Right. So, and that works quite well for me. And over the last here's what's good, Johnny, too. Over the last 6 months, I've been averaging 7.5 hours of sleep, which I really enjoy. And Johnny, I'll tell you this too. My average over the last 6.5 months as well, my heart rate when I'm sleeping, Johnny, between 47 and 59 beats per minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's the thing too about just to kind of connect naps and bedtime.
Yeah.
Right? So using myself as a perfect example, like there are times when I'm with friends and family and I'm not going to go to bed at 8 o'clock. I'll stay up till 10.
Yeah.
Which means I'm still going to get up when I'm supposed to, but I'm going to give myself a larger nap time because I know that nap is not just a refresher for the day. I'm actually trying to pick up some lost time sleeping that night.
Yeah. And Will Wright comes in says, I get 7.5 to 8 hours. Yeah, that's good for you, Will. I'm glad you found the time that works for you and you stick with it. And you're right, Will. Quality is absolutely important. And good time. Never take naps. Want to start trying? I would really encourage you to try good time. It's the first few you're kind of gonna go like, I don't know if I really enjoyed that, but once you get into a rhythm of it, it's a pretty powerful thing.
It's kind of like fucking meditating because you lay down and all of a sudden your brain starts. I got to do this. I got to do that. In many cases, I'll fucking count myself to sleep in a nap.
Yes,
just like I count myself into my meditation.
Yeah.
It's or I'll go into a state of gratitude because when I start thinking about shit that makes me feel abundant and happy, my brain starts releasing the chemicals that relax me and I slip right in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can say I'll probably have a nap this afternoon. I'll probably grab I know I'm going to go grab 20 minutes sometime on the couch here. And usually, Johnny, what I do is once post is done down here and all the work is done in the lab, I make my way upstairs into the house. Which I'd say around at noon, 1 o'clock central time here. And then it's like, okay, I'll go find 15, 20 minutes before I start the rest of my day. I thoroughly enjoy it. And
that's a great point, brother, because how do we give some people advice on how to do this? Well, if you've got a lunch hour, right, go to your car, Go to your car and just lay the seat back, and you'll almost develop a circadian rhythm for your nap. You know, it's like your body knows, like you're just describing. There's a certain time you go up to the top of your house, you get your nap. Your body will figure out about 11:30. You eat something and you take a quick nap, and you'll fall asleep right quick.
Yeah, it's so true. The power of routine, right, brother? The power of routine.
Yeah, 100%.
My lovely, lovely bride coming in with Johnny. I love this, right? I wonder what 38 BPM means during my night sleeps. Johnny, there's sometimes her heart rate, I swear it's like she's dead.
It's because she's in phenomenal shape and she's found a way to keep herself very relieved of stress. You know, I mean, there's, cortisol takes that heartbeat, starts speeding that son of a bitch up.
Yeah.
You know? It sounds like with you described your heartbeat, you're either having really, really exciting dreams or really scary dreams. I'm pretty satisfied with my 47 BPMs in the evening. So like last night when I went to sleep, my last night was 45 when I was sleeping. So I got no problem. That's pretty good. Yeah, I got no problem. I'm pretty satisfied. In the gauge, the thing about it, when you wake up, if you get into this rhythm enough, and you actually start to wake up, and keep in mind, it took me a lot of time to get this nailed down, but you get this rhythm just right, and you literally start to wake up before your alarm goes off. When you develop a rhythm, when you're waking up before your alarm, it's such a different existence when that fucking alarm is like raping you to get out of bed. Just feel. I mean, there's been times that alarm goes off, and I feel like I'm just getting straight up sodomized. I'm like, what is going on here? This is not the way I want to wake up. It's
true. It's so true. I love those nights when I'm sleeping and I get up to go for a pee and I look at my watch and I'm like, oh, I still got 2 or 3 hours of sleep left. And it's like you're just your brain's like, yeah, baby, go back to sleep for a few more hours, right? That's a wonderful.
Or even when you get up to take a piss and you look and you're like, fuck, my alarm's going off in 2 minutes.
Yes.
Because you kind of wake up to take a piss. You're like, well, shit, let's just roll.
That's exactly right. Like you're beat it by 6 or 7 minutes. Like, yeah, baby, I'm ahead of the day already. I love that feeling, right? I love that feeling as well. So, and Will Wright's coming in with that's awesome advice. I appreciate you, Will, for joining in on the show here. I see you coming in on the Facebook side of things. Hey, if you haven't already, I invite you to like our YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and so forth. And tell your friends about the greatest morning show to get your day started here with Keith, John, Marty, and the whole gang here. Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Jimmy, let's work towards wrapping up the segment here, brother. We're going to do it with Johnny on the show here. We're going to do our community corner. We're going to do our creator spotlight. And we got somebody here who is a mental fitness coach who's doing some inspiring daily peace. He has joy with practical. Yeah, he's a mental fitness coach, Johnny. He inspires humans with daily peace and joy with practical tips on clarity, resilience, and purpose. And on a day where I thought that, on a day where I revealed when I'm dying, I thought that we would celebrate this guy who's getting to inspire people on peace and joy. And this guy helps you build a better world for yourself and your loved ones. He's all the way from the greater Milwaukee area. He's the director of leadership development and strategy at 5 Star Energy Services. He designs and implements initiatives to enhance the capabilities, performance, and well-being of his employees and leaders in the utility sector. He's got a master's degree, Johnny, in school counseling from Monmouth University. And in addition to his role at 5 Star Energy, he runs a personal business offering mental fitness coaching. We believe here in the lab, right? It starts up in the brain, gets into your emotion before it gets into your body here. So I know that this fellow is going to resonate with what we're talking about here. And he helps individuals build resilience, improve focus, and achieve their personal and professional goals, always seeking new opportunities to leverage expertise to contribute to the success of the organization and the utility industry. So Johnny, let's take a moment here. I got my buttons set up and we're going to celebrate this person here for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. We're going to take a quick moment to celebrate this morning. Rick Clody, power naps are amazing. You got it, Rick Clody. They are amazing. This morning, Jimmy, Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends is going to take a moment to celebrate this morning's Tim Dexter. So, Timmy, we are celebrating. That's Johnny down there. I'm Keith Billis. That's John Anderson. We are celebrating here this morning, Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends, where we take the big-ass morning show light and shine it on somebody on the platform to say, hey, we love what you're doing. We love the messaging you're putting out there. We love the humans you are helping so we can celebrate you, then invite you to our show to take the big old creator spotlight light and shine it on somebody else who you might want to celebrate here in the lab. But Johnny, I was looking at Tim's feed here on LinkedIn here, and you see got a picture of Timmy there. I was looking at his content, and I thoroughly enjoy the kind of stuff he puts up there. You know, this is the one that really struck me, right? Which is, you know, instead of nursing a hangover and wasting half the day, he woke up at 5 a.m. to meet a friend for coffee and talk about our future goals on Sunday. And I love this nation because everybody's always looking for hacks. I need a hack. I need a hack. I need a trick. I need a button. I need a pill. No, success doesn't happen. Just happen. It's built by becoming the person who is and attracts the outcomes you want. Starting with a clear vision, intentional actions, Johnny, and surrounding yourselves with the right people. And he tells you this way, right? Clarify the vision, align your actions, build your circle, and then go. Simple as that, Johnny. That's it. Simple as that. Clarify, align, build your circle, and be consistent with those habits. So Tim Dexter, on behalf of Johnny Anderson, myself, and producer Jimmy, we are celebrating you here today with Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And like I said, we'd love to have you on the show to celebrate somebody in your orbit so we can continue making happiness on the LinkedIn platform. Tim Dexter, congratulations, brother. Celebrating you here today. Johnny, we did it, man. We did it. We wrap it up. We did it 90 minutes today. You were sitting in the hotel room there with a little bit of tech difficulty. We figured it out. But here, I'll tell you right now on the show what I think is probably happening. I'm thinking that because we're running 2 streams, because it happened to me before too. I'm thinking that within your laptop is what I'm suspecting. Nation, you're hearing me. I'm here. You're hearing Uncle Keith diagnose tech problems right now on the show. I'm suspecting that while we're running 2 streams, you're recording both, which is what you'd be doing, and your laptop is getting full. And I'm thinking that it's chugging down to get through all the data on 2 streams, because I had the same challenges on my end a few months ago. So what I did,
it makes perfect sense, brother, because when I'm on my podcast or others on Yardstream, Zoom, I never have the problem.
So what I suspect the fix is, because we know it's not the show or the platform, it's just one individual, because it doesn't happen for Marty or myself. So it's because it happened. If you remember, it happened months ago when I was stucking. I had to clean my machine right up. I cleaned it all up. So if we get into the details of how our computers work, our computer goes, okay, I need to go find that file over there so I can run this process. But if it has to go and look through millions and millions of files to find the right file, it kind of starts bogging down. And I go, I got to go do that one at the same time. So what I'm suspecting, I would encourage you to do today or tomorrow is to go into your computer, clean out your files, clean out your downloaded stuff, or clean out what's happening from your StreamYard experience, and it should improve the experience tomorrow. I'll send you a text privately here later today to walk you through it, okay?
So I'm really just going in to look at like storage and then figure out what I can get rid of in the storage.
100%. Yes, it's exactly it. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. That's what I'm suspecting is happening, is that your storage is full and your machine's trying to chug through.
It's a brand new machine too, literally just a couple of months old.
But you think about how every single day we do 90 minutes, 2 hours of content.
Loading this so I probably got to dump this thing out every week or something like that.
I have to, because every single day we're making so much content that the machine's filling up, right? And if we're not emptying it, it's just accumulating, right? So, and then the way
this is a great little bit of feedback for the audience, because for anybody that's got a machine that's starting to chug, you get weighted down. We realize that we got to go and give that brain some memory. And it's almost like, if we don't sleep enough, our hard drives are not efficient.
Good segue, brother. Good segue. Johnny Anderson segueing us out here this morning with giving you some advice, nation. If you're full and you're chugging, clean out the system. Go for a shit. Go for a walk. Have a nap, right? Just
empty out the clip. Empty out the clip, then take a nap. Shit.
Exactly. Good time. Just like pooping, man. Go clean out the system. We're going to get out of here. Johnny's going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here. We'll be back here tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Johnny, we have, quickly going to look at my screen here, Jimmy. We got tomorrow, we have Adam House joining us tomorrow. And, of course, we have tomorrow also going to be joining us is Stephen Mogling. And I know we're going to get Troy Devlin figured out, because I want to see Troy's shirtless experience on our show, Johnny.
Yeah. That's a bummer when someone's there and doesn't quite hit the last button to come on.
He's like, I'm almost there. Well, we're almost out of here. Hey, I got 36 years left, so you're stuck with me for 36 more years. Nation, have a good one. Johnny, have a good one. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here. Ciao.